Hey, brothers, you're listening to Home Bar Happy Hour, where it's Veterans Day week. We're going to be talking about some of the hilarious stories that we've been through in our military career. We're going to be talking about some of the drinking games that we got out there, a lot of good stuff. And we're going to be talking about the baddest man on the planet, Tyson versus Paul. Let's roll, America. Salute to all of our brothers and sisters out there that have been downrange. Let's go.
All right, yeah, let's go. Hey, everybody, welcome to the Home Bar Happy Hour. We bring happy hour to you. My name is Joe, and that is Chef Gus. Thank you, everyone, for stopping by the Home Bar. If you like hanging out, please make sure to subscribe on YouTube or leave us a review on your podcast service of choice. Our episode today is sponsored by BuyBeckett.com, but we will tell you about that a little bit later. For right now, let's jump into it. Mike, happy Veterans Day week. How you feeling?
I'm doing great, Joe. I'm doing great. How about you, man?
I'm doing good. I always like Veterans Day and, kind of all the lead up, the celebration of the week, hanging out, maybe watch a military movie or two and just, kind of be thankful and grateful for all the great people we got to hang out with and serve alongside and make lifelong friendships and do all that stuff. So,
yeah, man.
Yeah, big fan.
Yeah, we had a little get together here for on Saturday for your this past Saturday for your birthday with a few brothers we were overseas downrange with.
We sure did. My wife planned me a nice surprise birthday party and an axe throwing thing. That was very, very sweet of her and much appreciated. It was a nice surprise. It was nice to see everyone. And it was just a great time, man. I always like having like a little activity and being able to hang out with everyone. So appreciate you coming down. Appreciate everyone else that stopped in.
Oh, absolutely, brother. Happy birthday, man. Everybody, it's Joe's birthday.
Yeah.
But what kind of I have like my just a few bugaboos. Now, it doesn't matter what you could do. All of our listeners out there, if you're a veteran, you could do whatever you want to do. Me personally, I don't like going out to restaurants for a free bloomin' onion or so. You know what I mean? It's just not my thing. I just like to chill, relax, enjoy my day, just talk to people and stuff like that, and hopefully, like, eventually, hang out with any of our buddies, our brothers and sisters who are with us, like to hang out, maybe have a couple drinks, have a couple cold ones. And then other than that, that's all I need. Maybe spend some time with the family. But Veterans Day fell on a Monday this year, so it's kind of like,
it's just a normal work day. Yeah. Most people don't have off work for Veterans Day. I didn't do anything like real special. Me and my wife went out to a movie. We saw Juror Number 2, the new Clint Eastwood flick.
Oh, yeah?
Only playing in 38 theaters, so this isn't an endorsement for people to go see it. I don't know what Warner Brothers is doing. It's like the weirdest rollout for any movie, especially like a huge director and name like Clint Eastwood. But regardless, won't jump into that. We did that, and then we stopped at dinner, and I did partake in some free wings from Buffalo Wild Wings. But always leave a nice tip. You want to make sure you tip.
Yeah.
Well, on top of that, we got that, and she got some food, and we left probably a 50% tip or something.
I did go out for lunch or dinner with my father last year, and what did something happened? I don't know what it was or how they found out that I was a veteran, because I don't wear attire out there like a hat that signifies it.
Right.
But maybe my dad said something. I don't know. Anyways, somebody ended up paying for our meal out of nowhere, and nice, I'm just like, what? I'm like, it makes me feel uncomfortable and stuff like that. So what I do is I throw the money that I was going to pay for the meal, I throw that down plus the tip for the server, because the servers, they deserve that. Yeah, and then I request to know who bought my food, and I go up there and I talk to them and I thank them and just get to know them, and you know what I mean? Like, it's just to show appreciation. A lot of people take advantage of it, and I don't want to get down that road because that's not who we are. But that's not who I am, me as a
Yeah.
person. So I'm
Yeah,
just gonna
it's
leave it at
appreciated.
that.
I don't like
Yeah.
I don't love attention, right? I don't like getting attention. I don't like,
Oh,
people looking at me. That's not really my thing.
that was made apparent to me. I was directly instructed not to yell, "Hey, happy birthday!"
Yeah.
And I was like,
I mean, I would have been fine with a surprise or something, but Elizabeth is very conscious to not embarrass me. My mom was like, growing up, traumatized me a bit as just like being the most embarrassing person.
overboard.
Like, yeah, like we'd be going like, playing like little league. She's like holding up signs and yelling and shouting. And let's be clear, guys. I was no Willie Mays out there. You know what I mean? I wasn't a great. I was the second string second baseman. I was hitting.
You're not alone, brother.
Yeah, I wasn't batting cleanup for the Oxford Little League, Phillies. So, and she was just, a little much. So my wife is very conscientious of that, trying not to embarrass me, which is appreciated. But yeah, it's that like I don't want to go into a restaurant and be like, oh, I'm a veteran, it's my thing. I said it when I went in there. I was like, oh, you guys got like a Veterans Day? She's like, yeah. So I got that, but some people go crazy with it, dude. I know
Oh,
some guys that are
yep.
like, oh yeah, here's breakfast, here's lunch, here's dinner, and then we stop our snack in between. We're gonna get
dude,
desserts here on the way home. I'm like, all
line
right,
up.
dude.
They do a what is it? They sketch out a route. Like
Yeah,
and they hit
they're
up,
doing
dude.
like
They
a
just,
Denny's crawl.
dude, yeah, they just do a food crawl. Like all these places,
Yeah,
they just clean up, man. And then they don't care. They
yeah,
just like clean up and put it to go boxes and stuff. And I'm like,
yeah.
oh my god, you guys are like a bunch of vultures. I'm
Yeah,
like,
get your 10 wings from Buffalo Wild Wings and leave a nice tip
oof.
and go home. That's all you got to do, you know? Don't
Yeah,
go crazy with it.
and it's a lot. Well, it's 10 times easier for me because I don't really prefer franchise chains.
Sure.
I mean, everybody loves a fast food or whatever. It's because it's garbage and it's like injected
Yeah.
with sugar and cocaine.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why everybody's addicted to the shit. But like
Yeah,
when it comes to
exactly.
like, I'm very picky, even when it comes to my wings. Like I don't like little wing dings. I like big, meaty fucking wings, and I like them fried crispy. I don't like when I bite into them, it tastes like they just came out of the oven.
Yeah, you don't want no rubbery wings
Yeah,
over
you know
there.
why they do that? Is because they throw the raw wings directly into the fryer. If they were to par cook them off ahead of time as prep and then put them into the
Yeah.
fryer, they'd be extra crispy and they wouldn't be, you know what I mean? Like that's how I
Right.
get like some of these restaurants and it's just like it feels like I'm, when I bite into it, the vein is still filled with blood. Ugh. You
Yeah.
don't you don't want that, America. You'll
Yeah.
come down with
This wing was just
salmonella.
flapping an hour ago.
Yeah, I heard it. Was that a chicken I heard back there?
Yeah, you guys plucking them?
Yeah, but yeah, man. I mean, there's nothing wrong with going out there, especially like at the older veterans and stuff like that. Like, absolutely. If
Yeah.
when I turn 60+ years old, you're damn right. I'm going to be going there. I'm going to be going out because I mean, that's your lifestyle changes at that point in your life. I don't give a fuck. But
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely hit that moment.
yeah. But what kind of military movies do you like to watch on Veterans Day if you do?
I guess some of my favorite ones. I love Saving Private Ryan. That's a great flick. I
Yeah.
like Black Hawk Down. That's a good one. Uh, I guess those are kind of it. I don't have like a huge collection of military movies. There's a couple good World War II flicks out right now that aren't necessarily like military movies, but they're about World War II. One's called Blitz. That's really good. It's about like a mother and son that get separated during the Blitzkrieg in London, and then it just kind of turns into Home Alone, but World War II. That was pretty good. And then there was one called Lee. That's about Lee Harper, who was a famous photographer during World War II, and she captured a lot of
Nice.
the atrocities that the Nazis did for Vanity Fair in the 40s. Those are kind of my movies. I'm not a big
Yeah,
I don't get hard watching these crazy, violent
I've
war movies.
in the last 5 6 years, I've really like backed off on all my war movies for personal
Yeah,
reasons. But
sure.
there are a few movies that I enjoy to watch, mostly
Yeah.
World War II movies. I really enjoy watching Brad Pitt's Fury. Uh,
Fury's a great one. That's a
that
great
is,
movie.
I
Brad Pitt
just
looks great in that movie, man.
yeah, I just love like if being driver in convoy and stuff like that in Afghanistan,
Yeah.
especially if you're in a tank crew, because it's like uh everybody that's in an armored vehicle kind of it's all the same type of communications and stuff like that. And
Yeah, definitely.
Blue Force got well you're man this is we're digging back into my memories for this stuff, like Redcon 1 and stuff like that, what is it what was it called? It was Redcon 1 or something. Man, I'm not gonna lie, I have totally dissolved all those memories after I
Are you talking
retired.
about the name of the system itself? The
No,
system
like
was
when
the
we
Blue
go,
Force tracker,
that
right?
should
Yeah.
be a shame because I was a truck commander, so I should remember that shit. It's when you call up over the radio to make sure that, like, when the convoy commander calls up to the truck commanders and make sure everybody's in the truck, the weapon statuses and everything like that.
Yeah.
All that stuff is very similar to what they did in World War II. There's a lot of stuff that just still is with the Army up to this
Yeah.
day. So I mean, there's some plus like the badass. How would you say mental like the badass mentality from the movie that the movie projects is
I
was
mean,
pretty.
yeah.
Yeah,
I even felt that too. I remember like gearing up for my last mission, getting up in the gunner hatch and like going out, and I was like, I'm never gonna do anything this cool ever again. Like this is it. This is peak for Joe at 20 years old or however old I was
I
back in the
also
day.
felt.
I'm
Yeah,
like,
I also
I
felt
was
that.
probably.
I'm sorry.
I was just saying, I was a truck driver in the Pennsylvania National Guard, and for some wild reason, we saw so much combat over there. So
Yeah,
like leaving that deployment, I was like, yeah, I'm probably, the rest of my career in the military is going to be driving trucks back and forth to Michigan.
yep.
Like I was well
Good old
aware that
Grayling,
like this was going to be the peak.
good old Grayling, Michigan.
Good old
But
grailing.
I felt like that was the most accurate depiction of live fire in combat from like 50 cals and stuff. 50 cal, especially with the 50 cal, like
Yeah,
with the tracers and like it was just all like very accurate to what it is. Other than that, like I love Rambo. I love Rambo based on because it's more about a Vietnam veteran coming home and a country shitting on him from
yeah,
Vietnam.
yeah.
Uh,
It's a little
and then
different.
he goes batshit, man. Oh, dude, it's so
Yeah,
awesome. He's like, you want a war? I'll give you a war you won't believe. Let it go.
yeah.
Plus, it's like
Bringing the
Rambo,
war
like
home.
when he pulls out that big ass fucking knife, and he's like, what are you doing? Hunting? Don't be a wise ass. What do you hunt with a knife? Name it. You got anything here to eat? You got anything here to eat? Yeah, there's a diner like 15 miles up the road. Is there a law that says I can't eat here? Yeah, me. Why are you pushing me? But
I do like Vietnam movies. I think the Vietnam there's a good amount of Vietnam movies that came out like around like very close after the Vietnam War. Like Apocalypse Now is just a great flick.
Platoon,
Platoon was really good.
ham, ham,
Full Metal Jacket, Hamburger Hill
Hamburger
was
Hill.
another one. Yeah, there was like this weird time where like they just kept coming out.
Well,
And
I
they
feel
were
like it was similar to the late 2000s, early 2010s, like where they came out with like stuff from like like Lone Survivor and
sure Zero Dark 30, all that
yep,
stuff. Yeah.
American Sniper.
Yeah, American Sniper was a big one.
Oh, dude,
Old
Green
Clint.
Zone.
Green Zone was good. Yeah, Matt
Yeah,
Damon,
I like
right?
Green Zone.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but a classic World War II movie, and I know it definitely gets my dad hard. Is Patton. I
Patton.
thought
Yeah.
George C. Scott played that character that he played the general just brilliantly.
Yeah.
But I mean, well, outside of that, Joe, there's a few things that we some funny stuff that we used to do. I wanted to bring up Patton because later in the military career, like when we were out in NTC at Fort Irwin, California, we were out there doing exercises, and I was left seat and right seat, and I was training young NCOs to be truck commanders, the future, to
Mm-hmm.
pass off my experiences and my knowledge onto these guys. So, I really have never been up in a turret. Like I've either driven or I was a leader. That's it.
Yeah.
So like that was like, man, I'm just gonna chill up in the turret. Well, anyways, so being up in the turret, like I'm going by, and they're like, "Holy hell, who the hell's that up in the turret? Is that you, Gus?" I was like, they're like, "Where are you heading?" They're like, "How you doing, General?" It's like from that is like, "Where are you heading?" "I'm going to Berlin. I'm gonna purposely hang that paper burning son of a bitch." You know what I mean? Like just yelling shit like that out. Like it's so funny
Yeah.
because it's like you're bringing stuff back. Even like with Rambo, like I remember like during COVID and everybody was locked down. Nobody could, you know what I mean? Nobody was going anywhere. So I was building my bar. I would be drinking and building my bar at like 10 o'clock in the morning. And everybody's like, "Hey, is everybody ready to get on and play some Call of Duty?" And then I would send a snap over with with the Rambo. "It's a long road when you're all alone," just to send it over. And they were like, "I'm on my way, brother. We're gonna send some fucking hot lead down on these motherfuckers." And yeah, dude. What about you, Joe? Do you have any funny stories or anything like that?
I mean, we did a lot in in the military itself. We had a good time overseas and home. I think most of our you know for both of us, most of our career was like stateside. Um, but I remember like I'll tell this story. I don't know if this is like something super funny I did, but we came back from a mission and we had been on the road for like 20 hours, something crazy stupid. And we were all driving at night. So this was like, you know, probably middle of the day. We're coming back. I'm exhausted. I remember like, as a gunner, typically I'd have to jump out and walk in front of the truck, to be the ground guide. And we're walking like I'm walking back in front of the truck, and a lieutenant colonel comes by. He was our lieutenant colonel, and he was like, "Hey, Private Moore, how was the mission?" I was like, "It was fine. I'm exhausted, just dead." And he's like, "Great, why don't you tuck your fucking shirt in?" And I was like, "Really, bro? Really? This is how we're gonna start my day?" Like you've been here, like just hanging out on base for 6 months. I'm like getting a day and a half of sleep, and then right back on the road for 5 or 6 days. But yeah, that's when people talk about like this, just the silliness that goes on, and why people hate being in the army. Like that's the thing I think about. Like, you doing this, like being on the road working for crazy hours, and then coming back being like, "Well, why isn't your shirt tucked in under your Kevlar?" Like, oh, terrific, yeah.
I remember leaving the chow hall. What was it? It was when was this? I can't remember because all the dates because we were doing night missions and stuff. It feels like it was
Yeah.
like still dark or not dark, but it was like yeah, it had to be because we were leaving to go down. We were at Airborne right there south of Kabul, and I'm like leaving. So when I leave Airborne, like they got like the coolers right there next to the exit, and I'm just like I don't even care, man. They were like, "Oh, only leave like like you three rippets per soldier." I'm like, "Fuck you, man! I'm just loading the fuck up. You guys have the mother load." And I'm like, "Dude, I would just
Right.
fill my pockets up with all these rippets and stuff because that's the shit that I lived on, man. I needed it because
Yeah.
we're drivers, we're transporters. I need to stay awake.
Yeah.
I need to have my grips. Plus, I need to get back into the zone, listen to some Motley Crue and ripping some fucking cigs, man, some butts." And
Yeah.
when I
I
was
lived off of
leaving,
caffeine and nicotine that whole year for
yeah,
sure.
when I was leaving, I'm walking out, I'm walking down, and I see fucking Vassallo I see him getting lit up by a first sergeant, and I see Bell. Bell just keeps walking by. He's like, nope, I'm not fucking dealing with this shit. Apparently,
Yeah.
like the first sergeant was ripping Vassallo a new asshole because he was wearing sunglasses that were out of regulation. And I'm
Oh,
like,
of course.
well, he was wearing like this is. I never like if he would have wore like a dark pair. No, you know what color he was wearing? Like fluorescent fucking orange. Like that's like a like a Lamborghini going down 81 or something on the highway, like hauling
Right.
ass, and you reflect. You know what I mean? If you were a dark color, you don't draw attention. Like
Yeah.
obviously, like you're wearing fucking fluorescent orange sunglasses or eye pro. Obviously, somebody's gonna fucking say something. Like I
Yeah,
really
you're
didn't
kind of
give it to
asking
him,
for
but
it there, I guess.
yeah, like I had no problem like wearing the eye pro or whatever. It's just like wearing sunglasses or glasses 24/7. But
Yeah.
outside of that,
My
like,
first day in
oh, go ahead.
my first day in the California National Guard, someone like yelled at me for wearing red socks, and I was like, "Come on, guys! Like these were the socks I had. I had red socks instead
Were
of
you in
green ones.
PTs?
Like, you know,
Were you in
no, I
PTs
was
or were you in
in
uniform?
just like my normal uniform, regular uniform.
I mean, like me personally, I would never say anything. If you were wearing blouses, boot blouses, I would be like, yeah, you're gonna have to take them out and tuck your uniform in.
I mean,
because the
my
blouse
like
is
you couldn't see
exposed.
them. It was like it was like I sat down and like like you could barely see like a little bit of the red socks, and I was like, oh, yeah,
Yeah, I think
guess.
it's
I
just
don't
like
know.
more
I didn't
about
really
the
even know that was a thing.
yeah, I think it's more about like, well, like because it doesn't matter, like it's like when you're if you have your pants tucked into your boots, like old school style, then it doesn't matter because
Yeah,
that's completely in there. It's not gonna come out. But if you're wearing boot blouses and you stretch and then it'll expose, that's why they wanted everybody wearing like black or green socks. I don't know about the green socks. I'm not wearing that shit. I'm wearing black Under Armour socks, like straight up black. No Under
yeah.
Armour
I think these were
markings or
Under
anything.
Armour socks, and they were like red with black, but
Yeah, you get
whatever.
that. Yeah, whatever. But
I'm out now.
you
I'll wear
were
whatever color socks I
yeah.
damn well please.
That's what Gabriel was saying to me when he said, like, "Oh, what are you wearing? Red socks?" I'm like, "Yeah, what the fuck's your problem? I can wear whatever the fuck I want now. It's part of the variety pack that they sell. I don't give a shit. I'm wearing
Yeah,
pants."
yeah.
And
Get
even
at
if
'em.
I didn't, I'd wear red socks and at a gym. And the one I don't like wearing white socks. They just ruined it for me. But I feel like I'm
Yeah,
wearing like tighty whiteys for some reason. I don't know.
right.
But so
It's weird. Those are like tall socks are coming back. You know what I mean? Like kids are
yeah,
wearing
that
like
is
tall white socks now, and I'm like, you look like a 90-year-old man. Like, what are you doing?
that is very weird. Hey, to each
Yeah.
their own, man. I'm not going to tell somebody how to dress, but we
Yeah.
will get into that later into the episode. Just a few funny stories right out of the gate because I have been in for a long time. The one woman, sorry, not girl, woman, female. This is what I can't get over. Like she was so big, and it was embarrassing. But it got to the point where we were losing guys in our platoon that we needed fillers to drive PLSs and stuff. Just to sit there. She was worthless as tits on a bowl. So she got there. She made sure that she loaded up at the DFAC just in time. Now, when we got back from mission,
Yeah.
I just wanted to shower and just go to fuck to bed at night. Like it's like 3:00 in the morning or whatever, because doing night missions or whatever. And
Yeah.
so like there's one rack left. I'm in the other transient tent, and I get called over. Like our buddy Kyle comes over. He's like, "Where's Gus? Where's Gus? He's over there. He's sleeping." He comes over. He wakes me up. "Hey man, you gotta wake up. You'll never believe it." I'm not gonna even drop either of her names. I'm just gonna say so and so. We'll say Karen. Karen just Karen got up on the
Nice.
top bunk and it collapsed and it crushed Lucas. I'm like, what? I'm like, and so I got up and I'm just like, well, where's Lucas at? And like he got pissed and he just stormed off. And I'm just like, really? Like, yeah, he just went off into the dark because it was a blackout base. And he was like, and I walked in there and the bed was so everybody knows what the bunks look like in the transients. They're just like so chintzy. They're so chintzy. And it
Yeah.
just literally, he was underneath. Apparently what happened was he was underneath just playing Angry Birds on his phone. And then she got up on the top bunk and it's just like shaking and stuff. And all the guys in the tent are all like, everybody's like that. And then she's just like, she sits there Indian style on top of the bed. And I'm talking, she's a big girl. She's a big woman. And she's like reading Cosmopolitan. And she's like reaches forward and she grabs herself a chicken wing out of her book bag and starts eating it. Next thing you know, when she leaned over, the whole fucking thing just folded and collapsed on top of Lucas, and he was like a starfish underneath, is what they told me. And he's like, "What the fuck?" And he got up and he's like, and he walked out. I was like, so when Lucas came, I saw him the next day. I said, I was like, oh, so I heard you got hit by an Angry Bird last night. It was so funny. Some of the guys, like Bell just like threw his sleeping bag over himself, and all you could see is his stomach just like going up and down and like laughing so hard. And then everybody was like, you had like all the, the guys your age, like Good Body and them, like Davidson, and they were like, those fucking guys, those guys were just ruthless. So they're just like laughing their asses off. And like that has to be so embarrassing. Plus, that was like at the end of the deployment too. And it's like,
yeah. How do you gain weight over there?
Oh, well, I can tell you why. Because like they just never leave. They just stay off the road. They don't want to go out on mission because they don't want to. They're cowards. But and then back to my Iraq days when I was your age, back in 2003, we used to smuggle beer from. This is like after the initial invasion. We were there for 14 months. Once we got comfortable, we were doing like line haul missions from the Kuwait ports all the way up to everywhere in Iraq, from Fallujah and Ramadi to Mosul and mainly around Baghdad and stuff. We used to, on our way back, we used to like and we were able to get them on the fucking goddamn way up. They would be on the off and on ramps of the highways, and like the Iraqis would be up there selling like cases of Pounders, Petra. That's what it's called. Now, a lot of guys who were over there, they would know what Petra is. And dude, we used to get that. And then towards the back end of the deployment there, they started catching on to what we were doing. Like, where the fuck are these guys getting all this fucking booze? And they're like, well, we got to make stuff up. We can't have them getting drunk all the time. So they started putting so they put like when we were coming back into Kuwait, we had a fucking shakedown. So like I remember Tim getting a fucking truck. And he used to, are you fucking kidding me? We're doing missions up in fucking Iraq and shit, and then you guys got to come here and shake us the fuck down? Like, what the fuck is this? Like, man, we used to really give it to him too. And then they shut down the fucking chicken shack because everybody was stopping there. I remember when we were driving past the chicken shack, and that place was a shack. And we saw the British stop there, and we was like, well, fuck, man, let's stop there too. We get in there, man, we get like some fucking, like some chicken fucking shawarma and some fries and some fucking Coca-Cola in glass bottles. Dude, by the end of that fucking deployment, that place went from a shack to a fucking palace. Dude, they went from like wood and dirt floors and everything to a fucking marble floor, marble wall restaurant. Like, dude,
you guys are booming the economy glorious over there.
Yeah, man. Dude, I loved it. It was like something to look forward to in the end until they fucking, I don't know what happened. Apparently they got blown the fuck up. Well, that's sad. But
it does happen sometimes. Yeah.
Dude, we had like so many good fucking stories. So when I would smuggle my beer across, I would carefully take the off the MRE kit, the bands, the plastic bands. Like if you really work at it, you can get those plastic bands off without tearing them or anything. And you just take the fucking MREs out and you just fill it up with beer and then just carefully put them all back on and you just strap it right back onto the roof. Dude, they were like, oh, yep, those are my MREs and stuff. Dude, they didn't even look in there. Man, they were ripping apart everything on the trucks and stuff. They never even checked the fucking MRE boxes. And even if they did, they would have seen them that they were still sealed until they would have seen like, oh, well, hey, this one's, if you look really fucking closely, you could see that the binding agent that keeps those cardboard, the glue or whatever, it was busted. But yeah, they didn't have time for that. Oh, dude, and then when we went to any fucking palace, I remember we went to Uday's Palace, and that fucking place was bombed into existence. But as soon as we rolled up in there, dude, they were like, just stay right here, we'll be right back. Everybody got out of the fucking trucks. I remember G Biz, one of the squad leaders, he'd be out there with a fucking chisel, just chiseling like these little fucking tiles off of the fucking overhead that was like collapsed. Like he's just there chiseling. Like, I'm like, Jesus Christ, we're just taking everything that's like anything that's not strapped down, man. Dude, I was in there. I was like, I was in there taking my rifle off the fucking goddamn marble floor. I had like fucking marble. Like I came out with a case of fucking marble flooring from like the palaces, and if I only knew that those fucking Saddam heads were actual cheap gold. I'm assuming, or I'm not assuming. I'm from what I'm understanding, from what I've heard, what I've seen, is that those heads, his heads, were made of cheap gold, and that's why they get tarnished green. So they look green.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but still, man, I would have still chopped the fuck. I would have took a nick out of there. Fuck, man, because it was up on the roof.
Bring some of that bud.
I was up on the roof, and I also did a lemon drop off the fucking top, the top dive in the Saddam's pool.
Yeah,
that was pretty wild because I landed square right on my fucking back, man. But how many people could say that they did a lemon drop right off the top dive in Saddam's pool?
Yeah, not a lot of people.
Yeah, that's why I like that. I had like so many more funny memories from Iraq as compared to Afghanistan. I mean, I guess it's just like what you went through.
Bit younger in those days. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Bit younger in those days. Well, before we move on, Mike, let's tell everyone a little bit about our sponsor today. If you didn't know, this is the Home Bar Happy Hour. Every Thursday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we bring happy hour to you. This week's episode is brought to you by BuyBeckett.com. We're going to tell you about that right now. This episode of Home Bar Happy Hour is brought to you by BuyBeckett.com. Head over to BuyBeckett.com/Home Bar Happy to shop their happy hour line of clothing and gifts. They have cool t-shirts, sweatshirts, and fun coffee mugs that lets everyone know you care about the important things in life, like happy hour. And if you use our link, you can get 15% off your first order. Buy Beckett has a ton of great clothing and accessory options from their happy hour line to their veteran first line. Mike and I are both vets, and we love showing our support for the troops with a cool mug or a funny t-shirt. They have some really great stuff, and you will not be disappointed. So head over to buybeckett.com/home bar happy or use the link in the description for 15% off your first order. Help support the show and get yourself some great stuff. That's buybeckett.com/home bar happy or use the link in the description. All right, Mike. So we've made our trip down memory lane. Take that little sojourn back to our military days. What else we got going on this week? We got I
took away from a lot. We went through axe throwing. I love axe throwing, and I think that I'm going to actually put something up like that out there behind my shed. But I like to get into some of the games. Like one of the games that everybody likes to play is Giant Jenga. So to make it a little bit more entertaining, we from the bandits in the army, we created when we go up to hunting camp when I was still in. We still go, but I'm not in anymore. But we made it back then like 5-6 years ago. So when you're playing Jenga, you could play it like mini Jenga or you could play giant Jenga. And it's drinking Jenga. So you make sure you get yourself a pot or a big pitcher or something because you're going to need a like King's Cup. And you just put it right there. So if it's your turn, if it's your turn, before you even start, you want to pour however much beer you want to pour that bowl or that mug or whatever, that big mug. I typically go with my Homer Simpson mug beer from Universal Studios. It's a big old mug, like
Okay.
almost like a beer stein, pretty close. And then with your non-dominant hand, you want to go for that block. Problem is that block doesn't move, and you want to go somewhere else. You got to take a drink. If you take your hand off of that block, if you take your hand off the block, you got to take a drink. If you move to another block, you got to take it to a drink. If you have to get it all the way through. Now, if that's moving and you're dedicated to it, then go ahead. Pull, like you got to pull it all the way out, non-dominant hand, and then put it right back on top. And you can place it any way you want up top there, as long as it's covering all three of those blocks. Then it goes to the next one, and so all the way around. And then once it falls down, the fucking person it falls down onto has to drink that whole fucking goddamn thing of beer. Man, Joe,
tear it all
I
up.
have buried souls with that fucking game, dude. Yeah, I even buried myself here a few times. But man, you want to have a good time? You want to loosen people the fuck up? Play that game, man. That's a good game. Also, dude, everybody
sounds
gets
high risk, high reward.
Yeah, it's a good way to to loosen up the party. Everybody likes to play cornhole and stuff like that. I think horseshoes I have felt have lost their way. I think horseshoes needs to make a comeback. I used to play horseshoes when I was a kid, and I loved it. And I just need more people to come over so we could play a big game. Asshole.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Horseshoes has lost its way? You mean like people aren't playing it as much, or
yeah? I don't feel like people are playing it as much. It's probably here in the Pennsylvania area, the Northeast here, because I guarantee if you go down to the South, or if you go out to the Midwest, I guarantee that they're still playing horseshoes out there. And
I see people playing horseshoes. I think cornhole kind of took over because cornhole is mobile. Right? Like if you want to play horseshoes, you got to have a horseshoe pit. You got to get it set up. Cornhole, you just bring them bad boys with you.
You don't really have to have one. I mean, it's not like you're playing for competition. You just have to have the kit to take everywhere. You just got to be able to pound down and, just start
steal things and pound them in. And yeah,
the only thing about it is that it will destroy your lawn.
Exactly. That's what I mean. I think people are like, yeah, we'll just bring this little, wooden thing with a hole in it and we throw beanbags at it. Way to go.
And plus,
same idea.
Dude, if you toss it and it hits wrong and it just starts tumbling, dude, that thing will take the fuck off.
Yeah.
You know what else is a good one?
Let me get into one of my favorite party games, Mike. Have you heard of Cario Mart?
No, I haven't.
So it's basically Mario Kart, but the way it works is you have to start the race with a beer, and you can do it as either like one race or like a whole 4 cup if you're trying to go for a bunch. But you have to finish your beer before you hit the finish line, and you're not allowed to drink and drive. So like you start the race with a beer, the Mario Kart race, and you can, like my strategy used to be like as soon as it turned on, I just chug as much as I could and then take off. And then you're in like 4th or 5th place, but you get some good items. You could also, if you go off the track and you're in the water while you're getting pulled back up, drink it. Some people like to stop right before the end and then try to drink as much as they can. Or you can just stop every now and then. But you can't be touching buttons and drinking. And whoever wins the race and has their full beer finished before the end of the race is the winner. And let me tell you, that one will start to get you after a few rounds.
I'm not gonna lie, Joe, I love Mario Kart. It's just that I can't play that shit when I'm drinking. Like it's like one of those games that it's impossible for me to be coordinated to play it while I'm drinking.
But see, when everyone's drinking it too, so all of your coordination are going down equally.
Yeah,
I think there hits a sweet spot. There used to hit a sweet spot for me when I used to play pool a lot. After like 3 or 4 beers, where I'd be like loose but not like uncoordinated yet, and like man, I was just like I could just hit balls all day long.
I think
Same
that's
with like golf.
I think that's
back when
more
I used
like
to golf, my putting would plummet.
for me, that would be a game that I would play like during a snowstorm or during the winter.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, good
where
snowstorm game.
you're just in like PJs, or you know what I mean, like your sleepwear, and everybody's just drinking and wine and shit like that, just hanging like the adults,
Yeah.
and you're just playing games and stuff like that. Um, that is a good game. That is a good game. Cards. You can't hand out. You can't just forget about King's Cup, and Crazy
Yeah.
Driver. Was it Crazy Driver or what is it? The game where high or low, high low, playing high
Okay.
low. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
dude, I'm really good at that. I think that's because of statistics. For me, for
Yeah.
somehow I got like that Rain Man mentality. Like I'm good. Like that's why I'm good. That's why
Yeah.
I'm good too. That's why I'm good at the roulette table. Like I could just see what the
Okay.
statistics are.
Yeah.
Also, asshole. We always play when we're up there at hunting camp, and dude, it gets wild. It gets to the point where somebody's gonna get their ass kicked. Yeah. I also enjoy playing Mexican dominoes. My neighbors play that down here in the summertime. I like that. That's a perfect
Okay.
summertime game. I always love playing
Yeah.
Mexican dominoes, but um, yeah. Outside of that, Joe, with adult games, do you have any other? You have any other drinking games that you would want to play?
Really, like I don't play a lot of drinking games. I'm a bit of a lightweight. I like activities where you can be drinking. Big fan of darts. Axe throwing is very similar. I like
Yeah,
games like that where you're doing the same thing over and over. It's darts, it's axe throwing. As long as you get, bowling is kind of the same way. As long as you get the same like rhythm going in, and then it's fun while you're drinking too, because you're getting a little less coordinated, or someone else is getting little less coordinated. But yeah, those are probably my big go-to. I like the bar games.
you want to know two games that have been lost. One, quarters. You ever play quarters?
Oh yeah, I do remember
That
quarters.
I
You bounce it
used,
in. Yeah,
I
yeah.
love playing quarters. That's why I bought this cheap ass $25. Well, I got it off of Marketplace because somebody was getting rid of it. That's why I bought that circle one with the wooden table so that we can start playing
Just for
quarters here.
quarters.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nobody really wants to get into it though and stuff like that. I try to encourage people, but sometimes I come back and the
yeah.
quarters are missing. They
Yeah, people
fucking yeah,
people are trying to get. Oh, I
motherfuckers.
got laundry to do this week.
Yeah. And also another one, LCR. Do you ever
I don't know
incorporate
what that
that
is.
LCR? So you get the LCR. So you get the dice. It's dice that say one side says LCR, so it's left, center, right, and then like you get like a
Okay.
bunch of like red tokens, and like that's another game where you play with a bowl in the middle. Now there's the non-alcoholic game, but we've turned it when I was up in college. That's what we turned it into. We turned it into a drink
Was
game. And so like when you play LCR, you roll the dice, and then say it comes up like three left, two center, one right. You pass one to the right, you take two drinks in the center because the center is you, and you pass three chips to the left. Your goal is
Okay.
your goal. Hold on. Sorry, had a hair on my tongue.
Ah.
You're gonna get the kibosh, Jerry. I've kiboshed before. Kibosh again. But no, that's your goal is to get rid of those your tokens at the end, and then you win the game. You're out. So the last person that's in the game has to drink what's in the bowl. Does that make sense?
It does. I don't. You have to drink like whatever's left in the bowl. That feels gross.
Well, no, it's just like it's the same with like beer and stuff. Now, back in college, it's like whatever's been poured into that is what you're drinking. That was back in the young days.
Right. Yeah.
Fuck that liver. But
Yeah. Right.
in today's common society here in the gulag or down there at your movie theater, we're common.
Yeah.
We have decorum, so we're going to pour as long as you have beer, specifically
Yeah.
light beer. But whatever, if you're like the only person that's drinking like a lager or a stout or something like that, like go ahead.
Right.
Just don't be a fucking dick and just pour the whole fucking thing into the goddamn light beer.
Yeah. Don't do that.
Yeah. But that's what it is. So, but outside
Someone
of that,
can really screw you on that one.
bro, football this past NFL weekend, I fucking sucked. I fucking lost my fantasy football games. I finished last in pick'em. But you know what was good? The fucking Birds beating the living shit out of Dallas. I was like, dude,
Dude, just
I
absolutely
when
running
they put
over them.
when they pulled fucking Hurts, and I'm like, dude, I was like, it's obviously it's smart. Obviously it's smart, but
Well,
I'm
yeah.
just like at a Star Wars. I'm like, more, more. Like I wanted to beat them into fucking oblivion, and
I
like,
yeah, I but that to me is like I totally get what you're saying there. But at the same in the same vein, like one, it's just smart to pull Jalen Hurts. You know, they play again on
oh
Thursday,
yeah,
so they only got
well
a few days of rest.
Not just
All,
Jalen, but your key starters like your AJ
exactly.
Brown, Barkley. You know your Devontae Smith. You know, get
Yeah,
Calcaterra
because
out there.
we got a tough game coming up for tonight for anyone that's watching on Thursday. Against Washington, that'll be the
Yes.
big one. But also, I feel like when you pull your starters out, that is like the biggest just screw you to the other team. Like when you're like,
Yeah.
all right, guys, let's get the real players off the field. You guys, our little backup guys, you guys go that you guys can take care of it. It's like when you were in little league or high school and you're playing that team that was just so much better than you, and they'd start out with all their guys and just kill you, and then they're like, all right, now let's let all the kids that never get to play a game, they get to come in and finish it out. Like that's what it feels like. It's just like, yeah, you Cowboys, you guys suck so bad.
Actually,
We put in our bad guys in.
I get that. I get that perspective, but I actually feel like it's more like like decorum in the NFL. Like when you run the score up and stuff like that, and like there's no way you're going to come back and win. You pull all your players and stuff. Like they don't have Dak. So I mean there's that. But I don't think Dak. I mean Dak would have been better. I felt like because the Cowboys were in it there for mainly the kind of the first half. I mean,
a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Like they felt because it wasn't like their front seven played spectacular on their defense. Like Parsons played like a monster, like he always does, and he with him being in there, that helped out the rest of the front seven. So like that made it harder for Jalen to check down and stuff like that. Plus you had the sun going right into Jalen's highs. I'm like, oh
man,
dude.
what a stupid construction for that
they
stadium.
did it on,
like I was watching,
they did it on purpose. They did it on purpose.
It's so dumb. What a terrible design choice. I'm not an architect, but like I can tell you, like, hey, let's put this big giant magnifying glass that just shines in people's eyes in the end zones right at like 5:30 p.m. You're like, what are you doing, dude?
And that's why they love wearing white uniforms too, because you could point out the white uniform when the sun's glaring in you. You're going to be able to pick out the white. You're going to be able to pick out a white uniform over a dark uniform.
Sure, but then you got footballs bouncing off your head because you can't see the ball coming at your face. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, like if you're looking at the quarterback, you're going to be able to see that ball coming at you.
I don't know, man. I think it's a terrible design choice, and I just hate Dallas, so I'm fine like shitting on them.
No, I feel like it's definitely a Patriots move. Like Jerry Jones definitely built that fucking stadium with and
just to screw with anyone visiting.
Kept it open too, like you know what I mean, so that there would be if it's like extremely hot. Fuck the fans. Yeah. Fuck the fans. This is Texas. Like, dude, these Northeast teams, because that's who you got to beat to win the division.
Right? Yeah, you got Philly, you got New York.
It doesn't matter what your record is, as long as you fucking beat the division. So you got to play them twice. Once each team in your own home. So if you win 3 of those games and you beat 2 of them. And then try to win the other games, like your winning, your percentage goes up. So I mean, it's not. I feel like it's a dirty move.
Sure,
it's a stupid move because I'm not going down there in that fucking 130-degree Texas heat. Fuck that. Me being an Eagles fan,
folk are built different, though. Yeah,
yeah. I'm like, that's why they fucking put it there. Like I'm not. No, fuck that. I'm like, but they don't fucking care. Yeah, they love fucking sitting in the seats and their assholes smelling and their balls dripping and those coochies
Yeah.
fucking sweating and stuff. Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna
But
be melted to the seat sometimes after those
and then the
games.
only people that actually matter are the people with the fucking, all the ranch owners and celebrities and shit that come down there and, and spend money on like those, the field seats, the field club seats, because they got those field club boxes.
Right.
So you could just go out there if you want to watch the game from the field, or you could just go inside into the fucking club and just watch it in the air condition. Or you could just
Yeah,
watch
get
it, you
some
know what I mean?
AC
Like, so
blowing
the
on you.
people who have all the fucking money are basically paying for all that. And then you got
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
poor fucking peasants out there sweating their fucking dick off because we want to keep
Right.
it open for the fucking, the teams from the north coming down.
Yeah.
It can't be like fucking
Yeah,
Arizona. Can't be like Arizona or San Diego or any Florida team. We gotta be, or Houston.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's
Fuck
wild,
them.
but I 100% blame Jerry Jones for all that.
That was a very good. The fact that we pulled the starters out in the third quarter, and we coached a straight up game. No, like Nick Siriani didn't fuck anything up. He didn't get in there. Didn't play any bonehead calls. We were putting balls. We were kicking field goals. Like it was. That's the fucking. That's it right there. That game right there. So we play that
not
game.
Leaving points on the board.
Yeah, so we play that game just like that. You know what I mean? Like it's game wise, like smart football. We should come out. It's going to be a good game with the Redskins. It's going to probably come down to the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a big one. And I'm after living on the West Coast, I hate these like Thursday and Sunday night games that start at 8:30. I'm used to those bad boys starting during happy hour. You know what I mean? Those guys would start at 5:30.
I don't think it has
perfect.
to do with any of
Now
that. I think it has to do with it because we're older now.
Yeah, I don't like being up till midnight watching football when I know it could end at 9 p.m. I was like, man, but I'm excited for the game. I think it'll be a good game. And everything we talked about last week, you're right, like with the coaching and the crazy play calling and leaving points on the board. They fixed that all this week. Maybe Sirianni's watching us. Maybe he's getting the insider information from the home bar happy hour. And he's like, you know what? These two guys, I think they're right. I think I'm going to take their advice. So, Nick, keep doing what you're doing. If you're out there listening, we appreciate you.
Just a real touch up on it. We got the Tyson Jake Paul fight here this Friday night on Netflix.
That's this Friday, right?
Yep. And
wild.
I just wanted to put it in there because we're running short on time here, and I just wanted to put it in there. We'll talk about it next week, the post fight. But okay. I'm all on board Tyson, man. If he has to, bite that motherfucker's ear.
Just
I'm all about Tyson,
right
man. I love Tyson. And I think Tyson's going to do it.
Did you watch the Netflix thing? There's like a lead up thing. Yeah. Was it any good?
Yes, it is good.
All right. Maybe I'll check it out. That'll be on my list to watch. Yeah, I'm excited for it too. I think there's going to be a lot of people watching that fight just to watch Mike Tyson beat the crap out of Jake Paul.
I don't think it's going to. I think it's going to. I have a feeling that it's going to last 5 rounds. I'm going to go with the 5 rounds. 4 or 5 rounds. That's what I'm going to feel like. If it's got to, like Tyson's going to try and knock him out. If Tyson's got to go more than 4 or 5 rounds, that Jake Paul's going to win, just by
you think?
Yeah, just by
being younger.
Just being younger. He's got more endurance. Like he could take more. It's either going to go by knockout by Tyson, and that's what he's going to try and do, and it's got to happen by the 4th round because dude, boxing is no fucking joke. You got to have like
right,
but Jake Paul has more stamina. So like he can outlast Tyson. Just it's pure physics. I mean like there's no way. I just don't feel like Tyson can last 10 rounds.
I don't know. I mean, I have no idea when his last fight was, but I mean, he's getting up there. He's getting old. He was old when he was in The Hangover, and that was like 12 years ago.
Well, dude, he's in tremendous shape.
I'm sure.
Very good shape, and he's big and like he's really good shape for his age. I mean, he has to be. He's coming in there to fuck this dude up. I just don't feel like he's going to be able to last more than 5 or 6 rounds. So
I don't,
he needs to be fucking he needs to be going for those fucking knockout punches.
well, that's what Tyson does. I'm not, a genius boxing commentator. I don't know a lot about the sport, but I do know that was Mike Tyson's MO. You know what I mean? He was a hard hitter. He would take people out. He wasn't, Floyd Mayweather. He's the guy that just plays with you, and he outlasts you. He's a super technical fighter. Not that Tyson isn't a technical fighter, but Tyson goes for the big hits, the big punches. He likes to rattle you, get you off your feet, and then come in for the kill.
Well, he's an animal,
which is.
Like, dude, I mean,
he's
like,
an animal.
Dude, he's the epitome of in his prime. He was the epitome of a fighter. Like, he was an animal. Anybody, come on, bring it. I mean, he was fucking crazy too. I mean, he's definitely suffered TBI, or CTI.
Yeah, he's been knocked around,
But I mean,
CTI,
some of the shit he's like, I got a spinal injury. My back is broken. My back is broken.
I broke my back.
Spinal.
Yeah.
Then it was like talking about raping this dude, and he's like, what the fuck? It was just so funny. The shit talking was so funny.
Yeah, he's had a sordid past, which is true. He spent time in prison for some not great things.
Yeah,
but somehow he's still out there. I don't know.
Well, he's he's a little wild back then. We all were. I'm not going to
little wild.
Yeah. Getting wild. But well, that's all I got to say, Joe. So I'll let you finish it off, brother.
Yep, I think that's it. Hey, thank you guys, everyone, for hanging out at the home bar. Hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you again next week, Thursday, 4:30, on YouTube on your podcast service of choice. Hope everyone has a safe and happy Veterans Day week.